this video, we're going to discuss Pear Deck, which is a great tool for facilitating the reading between the lines and corroborating and refuting phases of the sources framework, as well as a great tool for supporting other phases in conjunction with a number of other tools that we talked about throughout the book. What's really powerful about Pear Deck is using it as a teacher-centered tool initially to really focus on providing resources to the learner, but then having the learner go in and interact with a variety of resources. So it's a great tool for scaffolding from the teacher perspective, but also providing interactivity and increasing engagement from the learner. When we look at Pear Deck as a standalone tool, we see that we have Pear Deck for Google Slides, and there's an add-on for Google Slides, which I'm going to focus on in a little bit. That's really the way that I prefer to interact with it, but you can interact with it as a standalone tool as well. You can also create just a simple vocabulary list, and this creates sort of some flashcards type of interactive resources, so I can enter my term and definition, and then you have sort of a flashcard factory sort of thing here. And you can learn more about that here. I'm not really going to focus on that in this particular presentation. But if we go back, we also see that there are some great tools to support remote teaching. And the Orchard is a nice tool because this is sort of like libraries and collections we've seen in some of the other tools that we've discussed and explored, where it really provides some templates for teachers, and it allows you to see how other teachers are using the Pear Deck in their classrooms, and also taking and downloading some of these templates and existing resources. You can even add to the community when you develop your Pear Deck products, and then going and modifying them based on your individual needs. So the Orchard is a great community for those that might be new to Pear Deck, or even those that have used it for a while. It's just a great tool to kind of access and go see some of the creativity and innovative ways people are using it. Then you have your present file from Drive. So here you can open your Drive and link it to your various Drive products, and then go and modify there. Now we're going to work directly in Drive in a few minutes, but just know that this option is here. When I click on it, I can start a live session. You can see here there's an unnamed session that I created. You can present it, and you can also kind of play around with it. You can end it, you can name it, you can archive it, etc. So once you create a collection of these sessions, you can really modify and how you want to deal with them. And then we have Learn and Explore. So here's some ways that Pear Deck's being used, and some things that really are some kind of nice things for teachers to kind of support them in the Pear Deck process. So if I go back and if I look at sessions, it shows me all the existing sessions and past sessions. I have archived sessions here, so I can see where students are, what all I've created, where maybe where students are having problems and that sort of thing. So I can kind of modify, and I can then go ahead and kind of address these accordingly. And then I have help here as well. Now I'm going to go directly into the Google Drive, and I'm just going to pick up a presentation here. And I have this presentation. What I want to do is if I click on my add-ons, I see the Pear Deck for Google add-ons, and I open that up and give it a second. And then I have this template library. I have some other quick things that I can add on to slides, so I can ask students a question and they can actually interact with it via text, via choice, numbers. They can interact with the web. I could add audio to the slide, so it's a real simple process. I can either upload existing audio, or I can record very quickly and then add it to the slide, and then the audio will be popped up. When I add some of the interactivity here, for example, so let's say I click on this slide and I wanted to add a text box, it'll take, or a text question, it'll add me to the question, but then it kind of tells me how to interact with it down here. So here's a homework reflection one. I think here I put some others. I didn't put the actual question there, but it kind of tells you how to interact with it. So there's a nice little feature there. Then we have some featured content, and then some other, just some kind of resources on the add-on. Now, if we go to the template library, they have a number of nice things. So they have some lesson builders, so you can create some beginning of the lesson things. So some text slides that might be more appropriate for the beginning of a class or a session on a particular content area. And this is great for, as I mentioned earlier, scaffolding. This gets the scaffolding process started. Then we have some during lesson kind of things. So summaries, some true false things, some draggable slides that you modify the content as you see fit, and then just integrate it into your presentation very easily. And then some end of lesson kind of things. So some reflections, which are nice for the historical inquiry process, as well as exit tickets, which may be appropriate depending on who your individual students might be. Then we have some critical thinking tools, which are nice. So some making connections, and they can draw on these and write on these. Some considering different viewpoints or multiple perspectives. All of these critical thinking slides can be useful for promoting the sources framework or various phases of the sources framework, as well as the historical inquiry process as a whole. If I go back, I also see some social emotional learning tools. I'm not going to go into these too much, but you can kind of do stress checks and some things like that. Then we have some subject area questions. So if I just look real quickly on social studies, I have some big questions, some factor opinions. I have some cause and effect slides, some evaluating, some what kind of sources questions, so primary, secondary, tertiary, which sources would be helpful. So you have a chronology thing. So these are great tools to use as starting points, and then you can just integrate them into your presentation. And as I mentioned, as you share that link with the learners, it's going to provide them that interactive functionality as well. Now, when I click just real quickly, just to show the archives, if I click on the dashboard, to share a Pear Deck straightforward from the Pear Deck app, I would just say go to joinpd.com, and then they would enter in that particular access quiz. I can give them a link, and then I can obviously open the teacher dashboard. So this is how you would share it with. One of the ways you would share it with learners. You can also share your links directly here in Google Drive. So this is Pear Deck. A great tool for, as I mentioned, facilitating the reading between the lines and corroborating and refuting phases of the sources framework, as well as others. We hope you find it a useful tool.